Thanks for joining us today for NCPDP's Virtual Product Showcase. My name is Dave Mammen. I'm an account executive with NCPDP. Along with my colleague Mia Ricky, we're your contacts for anything related to NCPD products and services, or really anything related to NCPDP at all. We're glad to steer you to the right people or the right resources at any time. For those of you who maybe aren't familiar, NCPDP is an ANSI-affiliated standards development group. And what that means is we spend most of our time and resources solving problems related to data interchange in the healthcare space. Thanks to the good work of our members in that space, the work has been named in government regulations and policies, including HIPAA and MMA. We've got a really good reputation and a really long history in standards development for standards like the e-prescription standard, the manufacturer's rebate standard, and the for batch transmission of universal claim forms, to name a few. We try to keep some simple principles in mind when we create and deliver these database services. We try to give you the information that you need to do your job and to do it more successfully. We look for key ways that we can help with workflows, improving both effectiveness and efficiency by giving you cost-effective access to high-quality data. From that data and its contents, you're able to monitor compliance with federal and state regulations and mandates by your pharmacy and prescriber partners. And our members use that data to validate healthcare providers, both pharmacies and prescribers, in claims adjudication or other related tasks. We have a suite of products that we offer. I'll be speaking to you today in this session about DataQ, which is our pharmacy profile database. Some 80,000 plus pharmacies and non-pharmacy dispensing sites in the US and its territories. In a later session, I'll be talking about our Rescue credentialing platform. Rescue includes the DataQ contents I'll be speaking about here now, and adds some additional information and documents, particularly for those who are onboarding or verifying credentials of independent pharmacies. My colleague Mia Ricky will be presenting on our HCIDEA prescriber database, and the other two products, RX Recon and Standards Table Data. There will be sessions in other product rooms today available for you to find information about those. And I'll speak about that a little bit later at the end of the presentation. The use of the pharmacy data comes in a variety of different ways by our members and subscribers. What we see them, many of them look for is just contact information and location information for pharmacies. Some of our subscribers will take that information and use it to publish online pharmacy directories for their clients or for their business partners or internal employees. Many are using details from the databases we provide to process claims and rebates, and that, by the way, causes the pharmacies to be very highly motivated to enter accurate data into these profile records that we're describing. Pharmacies don't get paid, at least not in a timely way, if they don't keep their data accurate and up-to-date and complete. Some of our members and subscribers, as they use the DataQ database, are looking for detailed business information like changes of ownership or internal codes that are used by chains for groups of their pharmacies. Others are starting to work at very forward-thinking kind of applications like pharmacy portals, and what the API interface in its accompanying single sign-on option allows is for those who are building those portals to not have to be responsible for user management. Fraud, waste, and abuse, and combating fraud, waste, and abuse is a big issue for all of our members and subscribers. And the data that we provide via these databases, DataQ particularly, allows you to monitor compliance and prevent fraud by checking the credentials of each pharmacy. And we see an increasing use of the data in analyzing market trends in the pharmacy space. how many pharmacies are there in the US, how many of them have closed in the last quarter or opened in the last quarter, how many pharmacies of a particular type, like how many long-term care center pharmacies are there in a particular geography. All those kinds of questions are ones that we can answer using the DataQ database. DataQ contents, again, profile records for all 83,000 pharmacies in the US. DataQ begins with the NCPDP number, which is a number that we assign when a pharmacy registers and builds their profile with us. The DataQ profile record includes about 200 data elements for each pharmacy, and that includes address information and other demographics. It includes their basic licensing information, their state tax license or their MPI or DEA, for example. We have detailed information on the type of pharmacy they are and the sorts of business they do through their pharmacy class and pharmacy type. We have a summary of the services that they provide as a pharmacy in day-to-day operations, and you'll see examples of that in the demo that I'll do just a bit later. We have relationship information, and that is the buying groups that they're a part of, any contracting groups, any third-party remittance processing centers. So both the business entities and the contacts at those entities that you might need to deal with in processing transactions with the pharmacies that you're interested in. We make this data available to you via subscription, and that subscription can provide either monthly downloads of master files or weekly downloads of master files. It can also give you an option for monthly transaction files, adds, changes, updates, and deletes if you prefer to consume the data that way after you have an initial copy of the database. Adds, changes, updates, and deletes are also available on a weekly basis. And we have the API access for those who just want to get the data that they need. They don't want to bother with file management, and they want to start to build some of those modern interoperable applications that are going to serve mobile devices and that kind of thing. API gives you real-time access to the most current, most accurate, and up-to-date of the data that we have. Another option for access to the most up-to-date and current information is those two online query tools, Web Connect and On Demand. Web Connect is a view of the profile record. You'll see that in the demo I do in a few minutes. On Demand is an ad hoc reporting tool that lets you pull information and export it for groups of related pharmacies. Those two tools access the live database, not the subscription files that are delivered to you. So again, accurate, up-to-date data, easy access through a query tool. Just before I do the demo, a couple of comments about why people come to us for this sort of data. By virtue of being a nonprofit entity, a not-for-profit entity, and the makeup of our membership, we really maintain a very neutral position. We don't favor pharmacies over prescribers or benefits payment organizations. We're really a neutral partner to all, and we're well known for customer support. Our contact center is made up of people who answer their phones, who are glad to do so, who are knowledgeable and want to help. And I maintain that that's a fairly unusual combination, sadly, in customer support today. When I go out and visit customer sites, I hear from our customers that they're thrilled to be working with the kind of people that we have in our contact center. We have a reputation for accurate and up-to-date information, and really in that we're staying of our member pharmacies. These folks all own their profile record, and they must keep it up to date and accurate if they want to get paid on a timely basis, whether that's paid for claims or paid through rebates. We always keep ourselves member focused, and that means we're listening to you, we're meeting with you on a regular basis, we're hearing from you. Members sit on our board, and members guide what we do, how we do it, what we deliver. So always member focused products. And I hear on a regular basis from our members that they are happy to have the kind of flexibility that we provide. That idea of I can get a one-time download of the file, I can get a monthly distribution of the full master database, I can get a weekly distribution of that full master database, I can get weekly or monthly transaction files, I can use the API for just the data I need and keep myself out of the whole file management business. Now let's switch gears for a bit and do an actual look-see at the contents of that DataQ database. What you're looking at is the Web Connect online query tool. Remember that this is a view into the live database, not databases that would be downloaded to you via subscription. So we're looking now at live data. And I mentioned those key identifiers that are included in a DataQ profile record. DataQ is the sole source, the only place that you'll find the NCPDP number. That's one of the unique things about this data that we provide. If you had the NPI number, the federal tax ID, or the DEA number, any of those key identifiers, if you're doing crosswalk, for example, between NPI number and DEA, you could enter any of those identifiers here. The more common way that people will pull up data using Web Connect in a call center kind of environment or a claims processing environment is that they'll know the area that they want to work with. They're looking for independent pharmacies, and they know that they're in Alabama, for example, and they might just bring up that list of pharmacies. So this is all of the independent pharmacies in Alabama. You'll see there's 733 of those. And I can just pick one as an example. And what that does is bring up the individual profile record for me. Each one of these tabs relates to one of the table files in DataQ. The way that the data comes to you if you're a subscriber is as a set of fixed width ASCII table files that you download from our SFTP site. So the contents of those tables are arranged via tabs here in part 1 of the profile. And the kind of information that you see in the primary information file or tab, for example, is the doing business as name for the pharmacy, the legal name for the pharmacy. If this were a chain, there's a separate field for store number, although most of the chains will put the chain number in the DBA name as well. If the pharmacy had closed, you would see a closing date. You see the date that they went into operation as a pharmacy and the last time that they updated their profile. We maintain 3 addresses for each of the pharmacies that are on the database, and those are the physical location of the pharmacy, the mailing address, and the NPES address is the address that was used when the pharmacy applied for their NPI number. So you have availability to all of those addresses, including some of the detail like MSA code, which comes from census information, county, cross streets, congressional district, to kind of hone in a bit on that address and where they're located. We have license information for the pharmacy, and that is their NPI, their state license, their DEA, and the live links for those pharmacies. You can click on those, and it actually brings up the file. This is a unique feature to Web Connect. These documents are not on the online database, but they are available via Web Connect. So you have a view into the actual physical document if you happen to need that. We have the detail that I described on the type of pharmacy that it is, their pharmacy class. In this case, they're an independent pharmacy. Interestingly enough, we always keep track of the languages spoken at that pharmacy. It's an example of the kind of detail that's included in the DataQ profile. Each of the pharmacies can specify up to 3 taxonomy codes, and these codes, both dispenser class and taxonomy code, are those codes that are published by Washington Publishing. So it's a very standard set of dispenser class and pharmacy type that's used by the pharmacies to identify themselves. And those are chosen by the pharmacy. All of this data in DataQ is self-reported by the pharmacy, accurate and kept up to date by them. We have a summary of the services that a pharmacy provides. So if they're using the script e-prescription standard that I mentioned early in the presentation, if they do e-prescriptions, we'll know that. If they are a compounding pharmacy, yes or no. Whether they sell durable medical equipment, if they have a drive-up window. One specific code that we see a lot of interest in is whether or not they're a 340B pharmacy and what the nature of their 340B participation is. Are they a contracted 340B supplier? Are they a subcontractor to a 340B entity? Do they do any 340B business at all? Here is where they would record that. We have a set of contact information, phone, fax, title, email for both the authorized business contact, so the person that you should talk to when doing business with this pharmacy, and for the person who's responsible for maintaining their pharmacy profile records in our files. We have information on relationships. In this case, this pharmacy works with a PSAO called Health Mart Atlas. Their third-party reconciliation, remittance processing is done through API Choice. And this is one of the places where you see some history information as well. So you'd see not only their current relationships, but any previous ones and the effective dates for those. That kind of information is especially important in processing claims. The last tab of information that's provided is FWA, which stands for Fraud, Waste, and Abuse. This is each pharmacy is required to affirm that they've completed their fraud, waste, and abuse training for the year, and each of those documents is stored in the file and available for your review. So that gives you a sense of the contents of the DataQ database. Again, just as a summary, 83,000 records, 200 some data elements for each of those pharmacies in the US and its territories, and everything from demographics to licenses to the services they provide and their business relationships with other entities. Well, so thanks for your time today. Just as a reminder, we do have product rooms for each of the products. If you missed a presentation, if you had to cut out during the course of my presentation and wanted to see the rest of it or see it again, if you can't make Mia's presentation live later on today, the HC Idea presentation, or if you have others who want to see it, all of our products have individual rooms where information is available. And don't forget that visiting each one of those rooms gives you another entry into our drawing for one of 3 $100 Amazon gift cards. So make sure you visit all the product rooms and take a look at all of the product information. Here's contact information for myself and my colleague, Mia Ricky. Again, glad to hear from you, glad to help in any way that we can, and I'll be available for the next few minutes for any questions that you might have. Thanks again for joining us.